Hey guys, it's Sam, and today I'm going to talk about what's on my Kindle, as well as kind of count this as my March book haul, because I have only bought a couple of books on Kindle this month, and I haven't gotten any books in the mail or anything really sent to me. And I have bought a number of these books in previous months, but I don't include my Kindle books in my book haul because I don't immediately put them on my TBR. Like, my Kindle books are kind of their own separate entity. I don't have a ton of them, number one, but I just don't really consider them like bought until I read them. Like, I don't even add them to my spreadsheet until when I read them because I don't want them like adding to my TBR because they're not really on my TBR in my head. Probably doesn't make a ton of sense, but that's okay. I've only really been using my Kindle since the fall. I never really used it ever. I don't tend to like ebook reading, but then when I started reading romance, I didn't really want to buy romance books. I wanted them more on Kindle, and there's a ton of ebook sales for romance all the time. So almost I think all of these books on my Kindle that are the romance books, which is what most of this is going to be. So if you're not interested in romance, you're not going to really want to watch this, but most of these books are Kindle romance books that are $1.99 or less. There might have been a couple on here that are $2.99, but I don't know which ones were which, but all of these I've bought on sale, and a couple of these I got from NetGalley within the last couple of weeks because I started being like, oh, right, you can get stuff on NetGalley. So I will go through everything for you. And I do have like the OG Kindle. So I'm not going to actually show you on the screen because the OG Kindle like doesn't have any of the book covers or anything. I have been asked before and people have noticed that I do have this Kindle because I've shown it on like Instagram a couple times. If I was ever going to upgrade, I probably won't upgrade my Kindle unless like this year for Christmas I don't want anything else for Christmas. Like, I'm totally fine with this Kindle, or if it breaks or something, but like these things are sturdy, so I don't really need like the fancy new Kindle, unless you guys want to tell me in the comments like what's so great about having like a new Kindle Fire, whatever, but like I don't really want anything for like tablet needs or anything. Like, I just use it to read, and I kind of like that it's super basic. So I'll go through everything that I have on here. So the first book is a book that I did get on NetGalley, and that is Someday in Paris by Olivia Lara. This is the book I'm actually currently reading. I'm about 70% of the way into it. It's an adult historical kind of romance. I have some things to say about this that I'm not going to get into right now because it's obviously not a review. But it's an adult historical romance that follows two characters that meet as like teenagers but then never really get to be together, and their paths are like always crossing over the course of like 20 years. So that's what I'm reading right now, and I got that from NetGalley. The next book is 1,000 Letters by Stacey Hart. This is a Persuasion by Jane Austen retelling. This is a adult contemporary romance. It follows two characters who were together when they were children, but like teenagers. And again, based on Persuasion, the female character kind of broke it off with him because of things with her family. He went away to war, and now he's back 7 years later, and they still haven't forgotten each other. This was a very angsty read. I will talk about it again in my wrap-up coming up soon, but this was very angsty, contemporary, had a lot of triggers in it, actually. But I'll talk about all of that coming up. Then there's a book that I haven't read yet. It's called The Island Affair by Priscilla Oliveras, and this is a book that I got from NetGalley. I don't actually even have the synopsis on here, but from the cover it looked like the cover of The Unhoneymooners, and it seemed to have a similar vibe. Like, there's two people on like an island on a resort thing, and they're like falling in love, and I'm like, perfect, great. Then we have a series of books I have not read, but I've had on my Kindle for years, and that is the Beyond series by Kit Roca. Their first 3 books are here in a bundle that I think I got for like $1. But this is sort of like an urban fantasy, post-apocalyptic. I think it's more post-apocalyptic than anything else, and is like a BDSM romance series. And I bought this like, again, years ago before I even got into romance because Chelsea from the Reading Outlaw like kept screeching about it and still does to this day. She like loves it. So I was thinking about reading it, but I don't know, man, because I can't really get into, I'm not that far into romance to where I can be getting into like BDSM romance, but she really likes the like found family aspects and how they talk about consent in these books and all this stuff. So even before I was reading romance, I was like, maybe I'll read these, but I don't know. And right now I don't really want to read books about the apocalypse. And we have a book I read this month as well, and that is A Rogue by Any Other Name by Sarah McLean. This is a Hades and Persephone retelling in a historical setting. I will talk about this obviously more in my wrap-up, but the Hades character runs like a gambling den, and the female character is supposed to be like a good girl. I enjoyed it. Then we have Heart and Soul by Erin Kinsella. This is a book that I read last month, so I will link my wrap-up and you can go and check out more of my thoughts there because I do talk about it, but this is a book that was sent to me by the author for review. I ended up really enjoying it. It's a K-pop set in Korea, K-pop star with a fan, fake dating romance, and it was done like really well. Now we get to a lot of books that I've gotten for free or maybe $1 at most from Kindle sales, and I haven't read them yet. The next one is Too Dangerous by Bethany Lopez. This is technically book 5 in the Lewis Cousins series, but these are all standalones. And this is about a girl who is falling for a local Australian bartender, and they get into a marriage of convenience at some point. So it just has some little buzzwords in there, so I figured why not, it's free. Then we have This Time Around, Love in the Heartland is I think possibly the series by Stacey Lynn. And this is about a main character who thought she had like the perfect marriage, and then something happened and she lost her husband. I don't know if he passed away, I don't know if he like betrayed her or something, and she ends up meeting a new guy in town, and he like is going through the same kind of turmoil. So it's going to be kind of like an angsty situation. I think they probably try to keep each other at arm's length, but because they're both like damaged, you know, and then they, you know, find comfort with each other. Again, a free book that I was like, yes. Then we have Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is one that has gone around BookTube. A lot of people recommend it. I think I first heard about it from Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads. Then we have Country Gold by Heatherly Bell. And this is a southern romance between two like country rock stars. Now again, not necessarily my thing, but I do like a good like southern romance, like especially like Sweet Home Alabama is one of my favorite movies, even though it can be problematic. So I don't like country music or anything like that, but this whole like country stars singing together, wrote a song together, that kind of stuff, I could be into it. Then we have Charming Hannah by Kristen Proby, and this is a book that takes place in Montana. So this girl moves, she's a new girl in town, so it's like a small town romance, and apparently she's a doctor, and she ends up falling for the police chief, which typically speaking I'm like, when it comes to police officers, but I'm like, small town Montana, maybe it's gonna be okay. Like I was a little skeptical, but it kept popping up in my like recommendeds on BookBub, which is where I get a lot of my recommendations for the sales, and I think it was free. So I was like, sure, I do like a good small town romance. Then we're back to some books that I have read. The Gatekeeper's Daughter by Eva Poehler. This is a book that actually DNF'd, so I haven't even talked about it on my channel, but it was, again, free. It's a Hades and Persephone retelling, but it's so overdone and not well written and very long, and it's apparently a prequel to one of her other series that have to do with, I think, like Hades' kids. So it's like death and whatever. So I ended up being like, I'm not gonna read these are badly written, so I gave up because I wasn't liking the characterization or anything with this story. Then we have A Wedding in December by Sarah Morgan. This is a book I read in December, and this is about a family of women, the mom of the two girls, and one of the women is getting married, they're all adults, but one of them is getting married, and then the other one doesn't believe in love, and then the mom is actually being separated from her husband, but they have to fake it to go to this wedding so they're not like ruining their like one daughter's life because she like doesn't even know that they're getting separated. And then again, the other one falls for one of the other guys in the wedding party. It's great. It was either a 4 or 5 star. It was really good. It's a really good Christmas. It's set in Christmas time. Like, it's just a really good Christmas romance. Then we have One Day in December by Josie Silver, which is one of my favorite books of last year. And this is set around Christmas, but not necessarily a Christmas story. And it follows two characters who lock eyes at a bus stop and then just like can't stop thinking of each other. But when they run into each other again, the guy is dating the girl's best friend, unbeknownst to either of them. And this follows their lives for like 10 years. And it's angsty and great. I have a review for that one, which I will link on the screen because it's not one that I'd necessarily universally recommend, but I love it. Then we have Holiday Ever After, which is a short story compilation of a bunch of Christmas romances. I have another one on here somewhere. Christmas in the City. So those were 2 holiday short story compilations. I finished Christmas in the City and it was just kind of like, it was fine. I think it was like 2 stars. Like some of the ones I really liked, some I really didn't like. They were all like too fast paced. I don't tend to love, I've found, Christmas short stories because it's all like too fast paced for it to be like, and now they're together and it's perfect, you know, like it's just, it's little like one-off scenes and then it's like they jump forward to a little like almost short story epilogue where like they're together. So I have a harder time with that because, as you know, your girl likes a slow burn, but I downloaded a bunch of them around Christmas because they were free and they were Christmassy. Then I have The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata. This is an adult contemporary sports romance. I've done a review for it, so I will link that on the screen. Then I have a number of books in the Addicted series by Christina and Becca Ritchie. I have 3: Addicted for Now, Ricochet, and Addicted to You, and I might have another one on here. But those are all a new adult contemporary romance series about 2 addicts, a sex addict and a alcoholic, who are together. They're fake dating, but they've been in love forever, so they end up getting together. But I wanted to read that series to get to the later books in that same series, and I still have yet to do that, but apparently they still hold up. But they tend to never go on sale, so I don't know if I'll ever read them. Then I do have the first book The Foxhole Court in the All for the Game series, I think is the actual series, and that's by Nora Sakovic. This is a young adult series that tons of people recommended me for years. I've had this on my Kindle for years, but I still have not read. I do plan on probably reading it this year though. And it's supposed to be like an angsty sports romance, but apparently from what I heard, the sport that they play isn't even a real sport. So I don't know. And that is it for all the books I have as of right now on my Kindle. So comment below and let me know if any of those books are books that you think I should prioritize. Some of those are a little bit more well known, like Get a Life, Chloe Brown and The Foxhole Court, but besides those, especially if you know some of the other ones and you've read them and you want to recommend them to me, definitely let me know. Throughout this video, my family has been walking around upstairs, so I'm sorry if you hear just noise constantly. I will try to update these Kindle videos throughout the year, a couple times a year, just to show you what's on it, since I'm reading a lot of romance on there. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!